The judge says prosecutors can present Alex Murdaugh's alleged financial crimes as evidence in front of a jury. That was the major ruling on the South Carolina courtroom today. Prosecutors say Alex's financial situation could have been motive behind the murders of his wife and son. Also, some new testimony from the caretaker of Murdaugh's mother, saying he was, quote, fidgety when he came to see his mother the night of the murders.
Did Alex Murdaugh have blood on his clothes?
No.
He had blood on his shoes?
No.
He had blood on his hair?
No.
Did he leave blood in his mom's bedroom?
No.
The caretaker also testified Murdaugh had something blue with him, like a tarp, and stashed it away in his mother's bedroom a week after the murders happened. Joining us for more insight is Matt Harris, co-host of the podcast, The Murdaugh Family Murders, Impact of Influence. Matt, thank you for being with us. We have a lot to get to, but let's start with that major ruling from the judge today to allow the jury to hear prosecutors' financial crimes motive. How significant is that?
It's huge. I'm sure they are dancing in the offices of the prosecution's home. And the whole thing was, how do we get these people on the jury to believe that this loving father and husband was able to shoot his son in the face and do unspeakable things to the insides of his brains and his heart and all that sort of thing. It was a big leap, I thought, if you couldn't bring in the motive. Now, we all know that the prosecution doesn't have to show motive, but in this case, I think it's important to make that thing from he stole millions of dollars, he's a creep, he's a dirtbag, to shooting your son in the head. They need this motive to show how desperate Alex Murdaugh was.
All right, so Matt, some pretty compelling testimony today from the caregiver for Alex Murdaugh's mother, as prosecutors are trying to pick apart, Alex's alibi for the night of the murders. So for our viewers, walk us through why her testimony today was so important.
The most important thing, I think, about the testimony was the fact that she's saying a day later, Alex Murdaugh is saying to her, I was here for 30 to 40 minutes. Remember, I was here 30 to 40 minutes, and mentioned it multiple times and multiple days to her. And then he also said, hey, I hear you're getting married. Why don't I take care of some of that wedding situation for you? The implication, of course, is that he was leading her to say that he was there 30 to 40 minutes when she was saying it was only 15 to 20 minutes. And not only was he leading her there, he was willing to do some favors for her to make her say that. That's all the implication, of course. The kind of crazy thing is he didn't need that much time. The way the time frame goes, he leaves at 9:06 from Moselle. We know that because his truck started. Let's say he left right away. He's somewhere at his mom's house at about 9:20, and he's back home at 10:06, which means he left at 9:45-ish. So he would only had to have been there 20 to 25 minutes. But I think he was building in some, if what she's saying is true, and if the theory is that he was trying to talk her into those extra minutes, he needed some extra minutes just to make sure. The thing is, though, it would have probably worked with her just saying 20 to 25 minutes, but he wanted 30 to 40 minutes.
So, Matt, there's a lot of questions. We saw that blue tarp, that rain jacket recovered by law enforcement. Some believe he was trying to stash it at his mom's home. But if he actually committed the murders, let's say, and then he got rid of the weapons, would he really leave this tarp, this raincoat, behind?
Well, that's what the question is. Was it a raincoat or was it a tarp? They were battling over that because the woman who was the caretaker was saying it was a tarp. However, SLED recovered a blue raincoat, which they tested for gunshot residue. Now, the defense is saying that raincoat's a bunch of baloney because the caretaker told you it is a tarp. It is a blue tarp. It is not a raincoat. So it's a bit confusing, I think, even to me, and I knew what was going on. I think it'll be a bit confusing to the jury, too. Was it a raincoat? Was it a tarp? Why'd they test the raincoat? Why didn't they test the tarp? And it goes back again to, I think, a huge mistake SLED did when they didn't go to the mom's house the night of the murders. They did not go check it out. They knew that that was his alibi. Why did they not go there and search the mom's house? That's a big question. But again, I think in this case, this one maybe minor win for the defense was it wasn't a raincoat. It was a tarp. Quit trying to bring in the gunshot residue on this raincoat.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.